Hey Vikings Nation, what's going on? Strap in, because today's Minnesota Vikings news is all about the most important position in football and a big-time message straight from head coach Kevin O'Connell. This is one of those moments that could quietly shape the future of this franchise in a massive way. There's a storm brewing around the Vikings quarterback room, and it's not just off-season noise. It's about competition, depth, development, and making sure this team never gets caught short again at the most impactful spot on the roster. And trust me, by the end of this breakdown, you're going to have a strong opinion on what the Minnesota Vikings should do next at quarterback. So stick with me and let's talk about it like real fans. Kevin O'Connell made it crystal clear this week. He wants a deeper, more talented quarterback room heading into 2026. Not just bodies, not just insurance, but real competition that can push the entire offense forward. When you look back at the 2025 season, it's easy to understand why this is such a priority. The Vikings had to start 3 different quarterbacks, and that kind of instability is never part of the plan for a team trying to stay competitive. This wasn't about panic, though. This was about learning from reality, and O'Connell is showing once again that he's thinking long-term, not just week to week. Second-year quarterback J.J. McCarthy was supposed to be the guy, but the road was anything but smooth. After missing his entire rookie season due to a preseason knee injury in 2024, expectations were high and patience was thin. McCarthy managed to play just 10 games in 2025, and while there were flashes of real promise, there were also stretches that made fans hold their breath. Inconsistency, missed throws, and growing pains were all part of the ride. That's the reality of a young quarterback coming off a lost year, and the Minnesota Vikings lived it in real time. When McCarthy was sidelined, the Vikings had to pivot fast. Carson Wentz stepped in and made 5 starts, bringing veteran experience but also reminding everyone of his limitations at this stage of his career. Max Brosmer also got his opportunity, starting 2 games for a Vikings team that finished 9-8 and fought to stay in the playoff picture. It was survival mode more than anything else. This revolving door under center exposed exactly why O'Connell is now pushing so hard for depth and competition. O'Connell didn't mince words when he spoke to reporters. He emphasized that the quarterback room should be as deep and as talented as possible every single year, no exceptions. He also highlighted how tricky that is at such an expensive position under the salary cap. Planning for depth while staying competitive financially is one of the hardest challenges in the NFL. But for O'Connell, that challenge isn't an excuse. It's the standard the Minnesota Vikings are trying to reach. One of the most interesting parts of his comments was the emphasis on competition. O'Connell firmly believes that real competition at quarterback makes everyone better, not worse. This isn't about undermining McCarthy. It's about creating an environment where nobody gets comfortable and everyone is forced to elevate their game. If you're a Vikings fan who remembers past quarterback battles, you know how powerful that dynamic can be when handled the right way. McCarthy's 2025 season was a roller coaster in every sense. Late in games, he showed flashes of poise and arm talent that made you believe in the future. But over longer stretches, accuracy issues popped up, and missed throws stalled drives that could have changed games. That inconsistency is exactly what young quarterbacks struggle with. Add in injuries to his ankle, hand, and even a concussion, and it's clear his development path hasn't been linear. Despite all that, Kevin O'Connell remains encouraged by what he saw late in the season. He pointed out real growth in McCarthy's decision-making and overall approach. The offense shifted its mindset toward completions, efficiency, and taking what the defense gave them. And slowly, that started to show up on tape. Explosive plays returned, balance improved, and the run game helped keep defenses honest, allowing McCarthy to play more within structure. This is where the idea of a deeper quarterback room becomes even more important. O'Connell believes adding competition wouldn't stunt McCarthy's growth, but actually enhance it. Having a capable veteran behind him means less pressure to force plays and more opportunities to learn, reset, and refine his game. For a young quarterback, that safety net can be the difference between breaking through and breaking down. Now here's the reality Vikings fans have to face. Minnesota clearly needs a reliable veteran quarterback to buffer McCarthy going forward. They explored options last offseason, including the idea of bringing back Sam Darnold, but he landed a bigger deal in Seattle. The Vikings also tried to retain Daniel Jones, but he chose Indianapolis, leaving Minnesota scrambling for answers. When a potential trade for Sam Howell fell apart, the Vikings were left with Carson Wentz and Max Brosmer. Solid stopgaps, but not long-term solutions. That's why this upcoming offseason feels so critical for the direction of the quarterback room. The free agent market could offer some intriguing options, depending on price and fit. Names like Marcus Mariota, Russell Wilson, Jimmy Garoppolo, and Kenny Pickett could all be available. Each comes with pros, cons, and very different expectations. But there's one name that instantly grabs attention for Vikings fans. Kirk Cousins. Yes, that Kirk Cousins. The former Minnesota Vikings quarterback who reworked his deal in Atlanta and could be a free agent this offseason. Just the idea alone is enough to spark debate across the fanbase. A reunion would be complicated, emotional, and headline-dominating. But from a football standpoint, it would immediately check the boxes of experience, familiarity, and competition. This is where things get really interesting. Would Cousins be willing to return in a mentoring role? Would the Vikings be comfortable reopening that chapter? Would his presence help McCarthy? Or would it create a media circus that distracts from development? These are the questions Kevin O'Connell and the front office will have to wrestle with. O'Connell did say he absolutely wants competition during off-season workouts. What that looks like, though, remains a mystery. Equal reps, McCarthy getting the majority of snaps, or a true open competition are all possibilities on the table. And that uncertainty is intentional, keeps everyone sharp and hungry. From a fan perspective, this is exactly what you want to hear. The Minnesota Vikings aren't settling, and they aren't gambling everything on hope alone. They're acknowledging reality, learning from 2025, and building safeguards to protect their future. Depth at quarterback isn't a luxury anymore. It's a necessity. So Vikings Nation, let me ask you this. Should the Vikings bring in a high-level veteran to push McCarthy? Or should they fully commit to his development with minimal interference? Is a Kirk Cousins reunion genius insurance or unnecessary drama? Or is there another name you'd rather see in purple? Drop your thoughts in the comments because this conversation is just getting started. No matter what happens, one thing is clear. The quarterback room is about to be one of the biggest storylines in Minnesota Vikings news. Kevin O'Connell is setting the tone, and the front office has big decisions ahead. And how they handle this could define the Vikings for years to come. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the Minnesota Vikings and their quarterback future, smash that like button to support the channel. Make sure you're subscribed for daily Vikings updates, rumors, and breaking news you won't want to miss. And share this with a fellow Vikings fan, because this offseason is about to get very interesting. Skol.